Hey guys, Joe here, and here we are in a new video, this time featuring Olimar, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some pros and cons of Olimar, and essentially who's good versus who's bad versus, and some disadvantages of Olimar. But with all that said, let's get this started. So with all that said, let's get to the pros of Olimar. Now the first pro about him, in my opinion, is that he can camp very well, and he does also have a very good projectile game. Now this is mainly just with his side smash and with his side B, but these two moves alone do allow him to space very well, very safe, and there's not much any opponent can really do about them. They also do a lot of good damage, and they come out very fast and are very easy to use and very safe to use. The second thing is that he does have a very long distance recovery, and you can attack out of your up B or out of your recovery. Of course, if you throw your Pikmin, your recovery goes even further, but you can probably hold on to all three of your Pikmin and still go from the bottom of the stage all the way up to the top. What you will want to do though is throw away some of your Pikmin so that you will go faster, so it's harder to gimp. But other than that, it's pretty good recovery. The third thing is that he is also very good at gimping. Now this is mainly with your down air and your forward air, and you can just hit people over and over again off the cliff, up B, hit them, and then, try to go for one of these kills, get back onto the stage, hit them again. You can do pretty well at gimping as Olimar. The fourth thing is that you do, in fact, have a very good long-range grab, and you have some reliable combos off of that grab, and you have a kill throw. If you have a blue Pikmin, then you can go up throw and it'll kill very early on, and of course you can go down throw into forward air, sometimes you can go into a jab, and then re-grab. There's a lot of stuff you could do with Olimar, and actually pretty reliable combos for such a non-combo based character. Now the fifth thing is that he is a very small character. That means that he has a very small hitbox, he's very hard to combo, and he can get out of these combos pretty easily, especially with his kind of get off and move, that being his forward air. The seventh thing is that he does have purple Pikmin that can also help him kill very early. A lot of times he does struggle with killing, but if you do use one of these purple Pikmin, you'll be able to kill the opponent as early as 80% or maybe even earlier. And finally, the eighth thing is that he does have quick aerials with very little ending lag. This allows you to go around the stage, hit opponents, go around again, hit more opponents, use side smash, up smash, use your side B. It lets you really attack with your smash attacks and then also attack with your side B while attacking with a lot of your aerials, kind of giving you a big mix-up potential and just doing a lot of damage to your opponent overall. So now that we've talked about some of his pros, let's go over some of his cons in my opinion. Now the first one is that he is gimpable, and he does have a very punishable recovery. Now of course his recovery is one of the best in the entire game, and by that I mean it is one of the furthest. You can go from the very bottom to the very top if you throw away all your Pikmin, and you can go there very quickly. But at the same time it is very gimpable. If you attack out of your up B, then you can't really up B again, so it can become a big problem, and the opponent can just hit you and gimp you, which is a big problem for you. Also, it's just very punishable because it doesn't have an active hitbox. While you are recovering, you will have to attack in order to stop the thing and to make yourself have a hitbox out there, but it makes so you can't recover as easily. Now the next thing is that he does also have very inconsistent kill potential. Now of course he does have smash attacks which can kill, but the problem about his smash attacks is the white Pikmin doesn't really kill, the yellow doesn't kill way too early, a lot of his Pikmin just don't really quite kill, and the blue one doesn't do way too well. Of course the purple and the red ones do fine, but it's really hard to kill with your smash attacks. Also your up throw, you do have to have that blue Pikmin, you really have to have exact Pikmin at exact times to get kills, and finally just your aerials don't kill way too much except for your down air, which can't get that spike. And the next thing is that it is also very hard to get back to the stage if you do not have any Pikmin. Now this is just a big problem because if you don't have any Pikmin and you're trying to get back onto the stage, you'll up B above the stage and then go for an air, and that's about all you can do. The opponent can just use any far range move or any disjointed move and beat your nair and then hit you off the stage and edge guard you pretty easily. Another thing is also that most of your moves do have very low priority, that meaning that you'll hit one of your moves into another person's moves and their one will win, especially just because your Pikmin will die from a lot of these moves. Now a thing after that is that your Pikmin may also randomly desync. You may just be randomly running around, throwing around your Pikmin, doing all your stuff, and then for some reason your Pikmin don't follow you for a second, and then you can't get a forward air off, or you can't get a side smash off, or you can't use your side B. Sometimes the Pikmin just don't decide to follow you, and it's kind of weird. Sometimes it takes like 1 second for them to follow you, and sometimes it takes like 30 seconds, so of course use that down B to make them come back to you if they aren't following you ever. And finally, he is just extremely light, with only an okay get off and move. Of course, he is very light, which means that he can't be comboed way too well, but he doesn't really have a great get off and move, so some people can still combo him at least okay, and since he is extremely light, he will die extremely early. So now that we have talked about the pros and cons of him, I would like to talk about who I think is a disadvantage versus, and of course an advantage versus, starting with the advantage. And this is that first, he can beat people that he can out camp, or just beat people that are very slow, for the main fact that he can't just throw out side smashes and forward airs, and they really can't do way too much. You're very easy to camp with if you are playing Olimar. Second thing is, of course, if the opponent is actually playing a very heavy fighter, or if they're playing a fighter just with very big hitboxes that aren't disjointed, because you'll be able to hit them, and a lot of your combos will work at a lot later percents if you are playing Olimar versus a heavy character, and you'll be able to hit the opponent over and over again. Now the third thing is actually you do pretty well versus characters that are combo oriented characters, because you can actually get out of most of these combos. Now you could try to get out of these with your nair as you get off me move, or a forward air, or a down air, just just any of your aerials, but mainly you get out of them just because of your weight. You can just jump out of them, and there's not much your opponent can do out of them. You could also try to up B out of them, and then just not much they can do. Now, the fourth thing is also that when you are fighting an opponent that does need to spam pretty much any projectile in general, you can throw out a Pikmin, and the Pikmin will actually absorb the hit and stop the enemy. This also works with a move like Pikachu side B. You can throw out a side smash and it will stop the enemy Pikachu, so that's very nice. Fifth thing is that he does do well versus unsafe enemies, mainly for the fact that he's just so safe that if the enemy misses one move, you'll be able to punch them with many moves, and they really have to go for all these unsafe moves to hit you, but you can just be very safe with your side smashes and with your forward airs and stuff like that. Now, the sixth thing is you also do very well versus people that don't have a good grab or a short grab, or they just have a tether grab, because your grab's actually pretty good, it's pretty long, and it doesn't have way too much of lag after you do miss it. Seventh thing is you do very well versus people with very small hitboxes or with very precise hitboxes, just for the fact that you are so small that it can be very hard to hit you, and because you're so light, it can be hard to combo very precise moves together. Now, the next thing is that you do really well versus people that kill late, because the fact that you can just live very long if they can't kill you straight up. If they try to kill you off the side of the stage, there's not much they can do because your up B goes so far, and if they really can't just kill you off the side of the stage immediately, you're really going to be in a big advantage. And the final thing is, of course, you do well versus people with very bad approaches, or with even mediocre approaches. You can stop almost any enemy from approaching you, and unless they have a very good approaching move, you'll be able to keep them afar pretty easily. But now let's talk about who I think he does have a disadvantage versus, and first off I'm going to be saying fast enemies with a great approach game. If the opponent is very fast and has a good approach game, you really won't have that much time to spam, and the opponent will just be able to run up, hit you, and there's really not way too much you can do. You don't have a great get off me move, so it can be a very big problem if the opponent can just approach you very easily, and especially if they're fast. Now, the second thing is if they are extremely strong, or if they kill extremely early. Now, this is for the simple fact that you die really, really early, and if the opponent can just kill you with one of their moves, you're dead. There's not much you can do about that. The third thing is that if you are fighting an enemy that does have a projectile that can go further than his Pikmin, you can be in very big trouble. Now, this is just because you'll throw out your Pikmin, and if the enemy can throw out a move that's further range, you can't do much about that. You'll be forced to approach the enemy, and your approach game really isn't way too strong. The fourth thing is you don't do well versus other small characters that have larger hitboxes in the air. Now, you can outcamp them on the ground for the most part, but if the opponent goes into the air, there's not much you can really do about this. Now, that's just because your forward air doesn't have the biggest hitbox in the world, and even though it does clank with a lot of these other smaller characters' hitboxes, it does also kill the Pikmin a lot of the times, and it can put you in a slight disadvantage in that way. The fifth thing is that he does not way too well versus just big hitboxes in general, because he is a small character. He does very well versus these small hitboxes, and when the opponent has a huge hitbox, they'll just be able to hit you and kill you earlier than somebody with a smaller hitbox, and at least it'll be a lot easier to kill you. The sixth thing is that people with a great instant killing Gimp will actually do very well versus you. Now, this could be seen with a thing like a down air as a Mega Man, or a down air as somebody like a Donkey Kong. It can just hit you, and you're instantly dead. There's not much you can do about it. This is probably the type of Gimp that will really get you, and it'll kill you very early on. And the seventh thing is that people with kill throws will actually do very well versus you, because of the fact that Olimar's grab is okay, and it doesn't have way too much lag, but it still is pretty punishable compared to a lot of other grabs in the game, and the fact that he is so light. So if the opponent does have a kill throw, they'll be able to grab you, and then throw you, and you're dead. There's not much you can do about it, and you die very early on. Nothing will really save you from that. Finally, let's talk about people that have a close to even matchup with Olimar. Now, this can really vary from people with close to the same range aerials, or with people that have better aerials but don't have as much safe ground moves, or it can be people that have better ground moves but their aerials aren't quite as quick as Olimar's, or it could just be that maybe, in fact, the opponent can kill very early, but you can tack on damage a lot easier than them. It can really go and vary from one thing to another. Olimar is, of course, a very good character. He has a lot of very good things about him, but he does have a lot of really kind of bad things about him that does make so he does have a lot of even matchups, in my opinion. Finally, let's talk about, do you need a secondary as Olimar? Now, what I would say with Olimar is that you probably, in fact, do not need a secondary. He is fine the way he is. He can do pretty well. Of course, his side smash is very strong. His aerials are very strong. Side B is very strong. His everything is very strong. He's a very good character in his own right. And on the even and even bad matchups, he can actually do pretty well. Olimar can do very decent versus almost any character in the game just because he has so much good stuff going for him. But of course, when the opponent can abuse the bad stuff about him, it can become a little bit of a problem. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to press that like button to tell me that you want to see more of these guides. And also in the comment section below, tell me if you want to see a Mega Man guide, an Ike guide, or a Toon Link guide. I want to know what you guys want to see in the future, and make sure to vote that down below. And of course, the top voted character will be used in the next video, so make sure to leave that vote if you do have a certain character that you really do want to see. Please choose people out of this list. The last video, people didn't really choose people out of the list, and it's probably because it's at the very end of the video, so do inform people if you happen to get to the end about this list of 3 characters that I do want you to pick from. But of course, you still can vote for other people, and I'll try to think about them for a future video, or just tell me other people that you do want me to add to the list in a future video. With all that said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.